Hey there, I'm an animated Connor Walsh, which is kind of ironic because people say I'm pretty animated in real life. Anyway, welcome to Walsh Wednesday, my new/old podcast. Let me explain. Back in high school in 2013, I was pressured by some friends to do an impromptu solo acoustic performance in my cafeteria. Believe it or not, people really took to it. And it turned into a monthly musical series I did through the rest of high school. Who said High School Musical wasn't realistic? By college, I turned Walsh Wednesday into a web series, focusing on interviews surrounding community events, charities, and local entertainment in the Hudson Valley and capital regions of New York. Walsh Wednesday spawned several spin-offs such as the Walsh Wednesday Concert Series, Walsh Wednesday Spotlights, and Walsh Wednesday The Reflective Series before its hiatus in 2021. After that, I spent the last 3 years working in radio, honing my craft, conducting unbelievable interviews, traveling to fascinating places, attending mind-blowing events, and meeting some of my personal heroes. Now, with the help of some awesome people I've met along the way, I'm bringing Walsh Wednesday back bigger and better than ever. Let's stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time. Welcome to Walsh Wednesday. On this week's episode, we're speaking with Jocelyn Zimmer, president of Zimmer Brothers Jewelers, Joyce Hills and Elliana Bertrand from the upcoming film The Feather, and David Patrick Wilson and Nan Gill-Wilson from the Academy of Film, Television, Stage, and Performing Arts, Inc. Special thanks to Impact PR and Communications, Teespring, IABO Board 114, and Walsh Valuation. That being said, on with the show. Hey there, and welcome to Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I am so excited to be having this episode here at this historic building and organization here in the Hudson Valley. We are currently in the Poughkeepsie location of Zimmer Brothers Jewelers. They've been in business in the Hudson Valley since 1893. That's 132 years of serving the Hudson Valley, and I'm really excited to be in here right before Valentine's Day because I know a number of you guys waited to the last second to put everything together. So hopefully we can help you out here. And for birthdays, anniversaries, and more to come, this is going to be a very key episode for you. So with us today, or should I say, we're with her because this is her space and everything. We have the president of Zimmer Brothers Jewelers, Jocelyn Zimmer. Jocelyn, how are you?
I'm great, Connor. How are you?
Doing all right. Again, thank you so much for having me in here. This is such a beautiful spot and everything, and just really excited about it. So before we get into like showing off stuff for Valentine's Day and everything, let's talk about the legacy of this place. 132 years. It's been in your family the entire time. Bring us back. Obviously, you weren't there for it, but like, what was the family legacy here of building this business in the Hudson Valley?
So that's a great question. Probably not a lot of people were here then because it was 132 years ago.
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, but any vampires out there? No, I'm just kidding. So it was started, I'm a fifth generation family member.
Amazing.
And I've been working here for over 20 years with my father and also with my grandfather before he passed away. But yeah, it was started by two brothers, Thomas and Fred Zimmer, in 1893. And it started on Garden Street in Poughkeepsie.
Yes.
And it was primarily a watch shop and repairs. And we did sell some jewelry. And we were, my great-great-grandfather was a watchmaker for the railroad, with the railroad watches. And also my great-grandfather was a master hand engraver. So there's been a lot of different, specialties and things going on within those 132 years. And now we are located in the beautiful Arlington Shopping District near Vassar College. We've been here since 1986 in this building. You'll see our black and white awnings.
And the iconic red bow, of course.
The iconic red bow that we do keep up through Valentine's Day. Yes, and we specialize now in fine jewelry, in all jewelry repairs, watch repairs and servicing, and diamond engagement rings, and estate, antique, and vintage jewelry as well.
Oh, wow. So that really is quite the variety that you guys are able to serve.
and offer here.
And we have our Rhinebeck store as well.
And the Rhinebeck, of
which
course.
we're celebrating 10 years this year.
Oh, wow.
So,
10 years. Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's amazing.
It's just a baby, 10 years.
But, it's part of just this larger overall, kind of jewelry empire that you guys are building around here. And it really is impressive. So, of course, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. This is the Valentine's Day episode, of course. So might as well show some of the things that you have available for those who are looking to find the right thing for their special someone.
Sure.
You want to show it off. Almost feels a little QVC at the moment,
Right.
but let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, let's get into it, right?
Yes.
As we say. So one of the first things I will show you, and I know you have a sweetheart for Valentine's Day, so we were chatting about that before, so I promised I would help. And just for everyone watching as well, we do have a Valentine's Day gift guide up on our website, zimmerbrothers.com, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And feel free to reach out to me, Jocelyn Zimmer, personally on any of those platforms as well, and I'd be happy to answer any question.
Terrific.
Or help you find a special gift. So, okay, first we have, now this is a trio of some of our best heart pendants.
They're gorgeous.
And necklaces, if I can, get this one kind of fell, but yeah, I don't know if the viewers can see that, but
No,
we
it's catching
have,
it.
in the center here, we have a beautiful, classic, golden heart locket.
Oh, wow.
And I actually do, I go live on Instagram, try to do it every Thursday.
I've seen a couple, yeah.
Yeah, at 12:30, and this was one of the great ones that I featured right before Christmas that we sold a few of, and it's really, really special. And for those of you that may not know what a locket is, it is a solid piece that is hinged to open, and you can put photos of your loved ones in there, to hold closest to your heart. So we can also engrave this as well on the back or the front with a date or a special initial.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we will do the photos as well. So if you email them to us, we resize them so they fit perfectly in here, and then we can also switch them out for you. But this has just been a real classic, beautiful piece, and that's
I'm
in
sure.
14 karat gold.
Amazing.
And we do it in silver as well. So I don't know what
very good.
what your girlfriend likes. If she likes more of, you need to find that out.
I know. I'm not so good in that category.
Yeah, I can help. That's okay.
I buy a lot of event tickets. That's my gift most of the time.
Oh,
so.
I love that. So an experience.
Yes,
I think that's
absolutely.
a wonderful gift.
But yeah, no, jewelry is
But
definitely
like a memento.
Oh my God. So with the locket, I could see like putting a picture of one of her cats in there.
That's that's very popular.
See, it wouldn't be me.
It wouldn't be you.
It wouldn't be me.
Nope.
She would much appreciate it be one of her cats in
Yep.
that locket besides me.
Yeah,
So-
but how special would that be?
Oh my God, she would love it.
Yeah.
Totally.
And as like life's milestones come up and move on, you can change those pictures from
Yes.
cats to dogs to whatever you want to say. But anyway, so yeah, and
Yes.
this is my favorite part of being in the jewelry business is, helping people celebrate their special occasions and give them something that's really unique and special and very sentimental and romantic, because
Absolutely.
I love love. I say it all the time. And speaking of that, I will just bring out the showstopper
Oh,
for
wow.
you.
That really is. That's wow. That's huge. Hold that up. Show it to everybody.
I'm going to show everyone this. I think this will show,
Yeah.
let's just see. I'm holding it in the right way. So this is a knock you out giant natural diamond, heart-shaped diamond ring.
Wow.
Now, this, just for perspective, if you really want to make a statement this Valentine's Day and propose, or maybe
Not there yet.
re-propose, and when I say you, I mean maybe the viewers
Yep.
out there. No pressure, Connor. But this would make a very, very big impact, and there's no way that there would be a no answer to this.
Absolutely.
It's 4.5 carats, and it's surrounded by other diamonds, and it's set in platinum, and it's just absolutely stunning. This is part of our iconic bridal collection that you can also find on our website.
Beautiful.
And this is a custom piece, so you will not find this anywhere else.
That is incredible. And I love how you said knockout piece. I'm sure if anybody wore that on their fist, if they were to throw a punch, that's an easy knockout as well.
I mean, I was kind of thinking that, but, you know, I do watch boxing and stuff, so. Okay.
Fantastic.
So this would be on my wish list, absolutely.
Beautiful.
And, well, I mean, more hearts like these, just really beautiful, small, bright hearts on a necklace, layering, just so you know, so the guys know, layering necklaces is a very big trend for women right now. So it's important to look at what she's wearing and maybe like take a little photo or something like that and bring it into us, and we can help you kind of find some other layering pieces that would be well suited. Because I know sometimes the fashion aspect is overwhelming with jewelry for men.
Yeah.
So
We know nothing.
and you know, and this could also be a good segment to talk about like self-purchasing for women as well, because I know I'm a big self-purchaser for my jewelry. And yeah, so these pieces, treat yourself to something because you love yourself for Valentine's Day. And this is a trio of 3 different necklaces from our Miss Stardust collection. And they vary in sizes and in gold colors. We have that beautiful, this is called rose gold, the pink gold with the white. And then just a nice single heart pave diamond on top. And on the bottom, just sort of almost more of a vintage inspired with that roping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these are all natural diamonds. We don't sell synthetics here, just so everyone knows. Yeah,
absolutely. The bigger one on the bottom reminds me of a necklace that I got one of my first relationships.
Aww.
And hold the awe and everything. Before I could even give it to her, it was for Christmas. She broke up with me right before the holidays. So I had to give back the necklace, and I got concert tickets for myself that March.
Good for you. Okay.
But I was really like proud of that necklace because it had like the birthstone of the month that we got together in it. And I was really proud of that one. But
and you know what? This is what I call a traumatic jewelry buying experience that can sometimes set folks back. So let's actually get into this.
Sure.
This is really a good topic.
We've turned into therapy. I love this.
This is a good topic because I see this a lot on the other side of the counter. And a lot of times all it takes is one, you know, it's a very well thought out purchase. It's a costly purchase. So when you get up the nerve and the budget and everything to do that, and then something goes wrong, sometimes it does turn you off.
Yeah.
To the idea of it for future purchases.
Honestly, I haven't bought much jewelry beyond that point. So yeah.
And you said yourself, you know, now you do concert tickets, and you had turned that into concert tickets for a good experience. So we're going to get this. This is therapy. We're going to get him reprogrammed into buying jewelry again and concert tickets. You can do both.
You can do both.
Because there's so many occasions in the year. You don't have to buy jewelry for every single one.
Exactly. You know, swap it up, change it around.
So that was very thoughtful, and to just have that sort of go awry after you have this thoughtful thing waiting. And I'm sure it was for a reason, because obviously, you know.
It was an interesting time period. I will say that at the very least. But yeah, no, it's good to be reacquainted with it all. And I'm sure there's some other guys that, guys, girls, and everybody who just been through a certain situation, it sets them back, and then it's like, oh shoot, how am I going to do this
or like
again?
you know, I have a lot of men say, oh well, I bought her so many things over the years, but it all just sits in the jewelry box, you know, which sometimes is an indication of someone not maybe liking the pieces enough to wear them, but they don't want to hurt their partner's feelings and return them, you know. And that's a good side note, actually. We do buy jewelry, so if anyone does have pieces that maybe they don't wear and they would like to trade in towards some new pieces. Styles change, lifestyles change. We do that every day as well. And we
Amazing.
buy for cash too, but we do a lot with trade-ins and trade-ups. So, yeah, I mean, and you don't want to hurt someone's feelings.
No,
but
no.
at the same time, that's why I think now, like, people will come in with their wife or girlfriend's like Instagram or Pinterest and say like, well, this is what, especially with engagement rings.
Yeah.
And we custom make anything we can get a picture of. So that's kind of cool too.
Funny that you mentioned that. One thing that my girlfriend and I have talked about, we are not at that point of engagement yet, but we already have talked about like how it all work. I'm going to use my grandmother's ring to propose
I love
with.
that.
But once the proposal happens and everything, I'll bring her in to get her the ring that she wants.
Okay, I love that. And let me tell you, this is a trend.
Yes.
Because I just had another client do the same thing at Christmas.
Really?
Use the grandmother's ring for a proposal so that he could surprise her with the proposal. She'd have something as a placeholder and as a moment, and then they came in together and she chose the style that she wanted.
Yeah, I feel like that there's
awesome.
I feel like there's a lot of power to that. I feel like it's empowering for picking out the ring together, and I think it's a really nice way of coming together with it, because you can easily screw up and it's not the exact thing. So
you don't
really
want her to know when it's coming. I mean,
Exactly.
I think the element of surprise in the proposal is something that is one of the most romantic aspects of it.
Absolutely.
And you will see on our Instagram and Facebook, we are running a series called our Couples Love Legacies. So that you guys will have to watch out for, because we have some beautiful stories that we're telling through video and through interviewing some of our engagement ring clients and just couples. So I don't know if you've seen it, but it really, each one brings a tear to my eye. And I know most of these, clients I've either worked with here or I know them, just from coming in, and to hear the depths of their stories. And I don't know, my passion is not just to sell jewelry, but to also just really promote love. And I know it sounds,
it's great,
but
though.
that's my
I love it.
passion. Yeah.
And what's the name of the series again? Legacy what?
It's called, you'll find it on our @ZB Jewels Instagram and Zimmer Brothers Jewelers Facebook. But it's called our Couples Love Legacy.
Couples Love Legacy.
Yeah,
I love that. And that's so unique to be able to show that off, because every time somebody comes in here, that's a completely new and different love story. And as you said, you love love. You're being able to promote it. I'm excited about that. Is there anything in particular from either working on this Love Legacy series or just simply working with clients? Are there any particular moments that stick out to you that have stuck with you?
Like I said, each one has really I feel so invested, and I know our other, my other, team members here all feel the same. I would say so one of my favorite ones is when I asked a couple, Madison and Justin, I asked them, or not, it was, Madison and Justin, okay. Well, I actually have two things.
Okay.
When I asked I asked everyone, all the couples, what's one, funny or quirky thing about each other that you would, point out or whatever. And Madison and Justin are, the most iconically just lovely, romantic, sweet couple that... I mean, I love all my couples, everyone is, but they are just I don't know, they're just so, so lovely. From the moment I first met Justin and he surprised her, totally surprised her with this engagement.
Nice.
And they're now married. This happened over the last 2 years.
Good for them.
But they really couldn't come up with anything that was quirky or annoying. They could only come up with really good things about each other, which I thought was so funny.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was really cute. But I was come on, there's got to be something. And they're yeah, and then they just kept saying really positive, wonderful things. And so their story is going to be coming out, I think, this week for Valentine's Day.
This.
So yeah, you'll have to watch out for it. But then another couple,
Yeah.
Sean and Amanda, when I asked them about it, they she said all of these like lovely things about him, his drive, and how he always like makes whatever he puts his mind to, he makes happen. And it wasn't really answering my question, but whatever. It was really beautiful to see. Like, she was really just, complimenting him and just so inspired by him. And then he said, well, what about, or we asked him, what about like Amanda? What's one like quirky thing you love about her? And he said, she loves calculators. And we were like, okay. And he said, she has more calculators than anyone you'll ever meet. So
that is a quirky thing.
it was quirky, and we were all kind of like, okay, so his drive, his passion, his
See, he took quirky at very face value.
Oh, yeah, and calculators. But it turns out that Amanda actually works, she's a teacher, and she also is an educator for Texas Instruments. So she's a mathematician. Yeah, but it was cute. So yeah, you can actually see their story is already up.
It's already up.
Yep. And then Justin and Madison's will be up this week. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And we'll make sure that we have the links and information in the description so you guys will be able to find that. But yeah, no, I love the legacy. I love the stories. I love the love. If you can't tell, I'm a hopeless romantic as well. So absolutely. One thing that I do want to talk about right now, you are the first female president for the business and everything. And I look around your showroom, pretty much everybody that you employ is predominantly women. So I want to talk about empowering women in business, why it's so important, especially these days, why it's so important right now.
I think that, we're definitely an equal opportunity employer, and my dad's still here. He's back there. But, most of the people that are drawn into our business just happen to be women. I definitely am a big supporter of trying to get women maybe who don't have experience, or maybe they've been, say, mothers raising children and they went to college a long time ago, but they don't feel as if they can get back into the workforce. This is a great place to come and be trained in. We have a various kind of different positions here, and that's been one thing that since I've taken over that has seemed, I wouldn't say I've sought it out, it has just sort of naturally come into fruition here. And also I do have started a Dutchess Community College scholarship fund as well for business as well. So
that's fantastic.
And so usually that's a woman too. And yeah, I'm just a big supporter of all of that. And I just happen to be the, fifth generation one that came in and has been here for over 20 years, and it was, the next step. So.
A seamless fit. No, I love that.
But it's funny that it's
great.
called Zimmer Brothers, and I do have two daughters, and if they ever take it over and would like to change the name to Zimmer Sisters or whatever.
Sisters, daughters,
but it's just iconic,
No, I love that. I think that's great. Now, one thing about being the first female president, and you feel free to shoot this question down if you don't want to answer any of it, but being the legacy of, great-grandfather, grandfather, father, all that, have there been any challenges that you saw at any time, being the first female president, where it's like that other people, did they treat you differently than they would your dad, your grandfather, or anything like that? Were there things that you had to overcome that you're proud of and that you would like to pass on to other women in the workforce?
I will say that the jewelry industry, when I first came into it, was predominantly males in leadership positions.
Interesting.
And I just never really thought like that. So I don't think I probably noticed a lot of inequality in that way. And I was just very sheltered in my own family's sort of store. And I think that they were ready. I feel like I was given an opportunity based on merit and based on, accomplishment and achievement. But I don't think anyone probably really thought that maybe I'd be the leader I am here today.
I will say, it's impressive, everything that you've been able to put together. And your quality, your work ethic, and your merit shows it. And, with unfortunately, the climate that we're seeing in recent years, months, whatever you want to call it. I try not to get political on Walsh Wednesday, but I think it's very important to be able to show that work ethic and merit and everything. And I'm happy to hear that it was a very positive thing for you to be able to get into it.
Yeah.
You have really done wonders for this community and the business and everything. So,
well, it's really my passion.
Yeah.
And I will say, the climate is, especially in the last year, has been very up and down and uncertain, but we really are just sort of operating in our own little world here to a degree. It's the way we like it, but also we people have occasions. Occasions are still going on, and we do offer so many different price points to be able to have people, like different budgets for people. And when one thing ebbs, another thing flows. Our full service department, all of this. But I will say I have a wonderful team of women behind me here that just, I could not do without them. Everyone just shows up 100% every day. And it's just, we just have a very happy, positive environment here.
I love that. Well, just walking through the door, it just feels so light and fun. And I love that. And of course, all the links and information will be in the descriptions, of course. Fortunately, we will have to wrap up shortly. I do want to say something that you brought up, celebrations. Life keeps going on.
Yep.
Regardless of what is happening, you do have to stop and acknowledge the good and celebrate, because if you don't, what's the point?
Right, and focus on your own family and
Yes.
what we can. I try and focus on what I can control every day and what is right in front of me. And I mean, I get to see beautiful moments every day, so that helps as well.
Amazing.
So tune into our Love Legacy stories. Maybe you can get some good news,
Absolutely. No,
your day.
we definitely need more of that. Jocelyn, again, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for having me in the wonderful store.
Thank you.
Is there any last little nugget that you want to leave any of the listeners right now?
Happy Valentine's Day coming up, and I
Happy
hope that you
Valentine's
have a
Day.
great one. And if you don't have a Valentine, treat yourself and jewelry, but don't forget the chocolate. Definitely not. And it's a pleasure, Connor. I know we had a great time the last time we met.
At the radio
and
station, yeah,
you,
absolutely.
Always make me feel very welcome, and I love to come on and just spread the word about Zimmer Brothers and our legacy business. So I really appreciate it.
Seriously, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. I'm Connor.
I'm Jocelyn.
And as always, we're glad we get to
Spend some time.
Hey there, I'm the ad ref, and I'm calling a timeout on today's episode to tell you about our sponsors. First of all, let's throw it to Philomena in the booth. Philomena?
Thanks, Connor. I'm Philomena Finelli, CEO of Impact PR and Communications and a media maven, which is a fancy way of saying that my team and I help companies get in the news, transform leaders into thought leaders, and cut through the clutter with messaging that matters. And we do it all with a smile. Our agency was named the Woman-Owned Small Business of the Year for 2024 by the Metro New York District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we received the Gold Stevie Award for Women-Run Workplace of the Year, which is an international recognition. But it's not about the awards, it's about the personal interactions. We at Impact PR and Communications pride ourselves on crafting meaningful, results-driven public relations campaigns that are tailored to meet and exceed our clients' goals. If you want to learn more and talk to my team and I, visit prwithimpact.com and let us know that you found out about us from Walsh Wednesday. Now back to you, Ad Ref.
Thanks, Philomena. Now it's time to throw it over to a very handsome and, might I say, stylish young man. The Walsh Wednesday merch store is officially open. Now you can have my face on your body. That didn't come out right. When you visit the Walsh Wednesday merch store, you can select from hats, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. By purchasing some Walsh Wednesday merchandise, you're not only supporting this program, but you're also supporting the local arts and organizations that are featured. Just visit cmjwentertainment.com/shop-merch and use promo code REVIVAL for 20% off. All links are in the description. I decided to work with Teespring for my merch store because, well, I was already buying from them. They have comfortable and durable products, and their printing is clear and reliable. One of my favorite hoodies is from my friend's Teespring collection, Offbeat Threads. To learn how to start your own online collection, visit teespring.com. And of course, I hope you get to spend some time at the Walsh Wednesday merch store. Thanks, guys. All right, that's enough of me. Time to get this show back on the road. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Walsh Wednesday. Really happy to be having this discussion today. Love talking about new films that are coming out, and I'm really excited about this one, especially like if you guys into Viking stuff and all that, you're going to like this. Sounds so cool. I'm excited about this. We have one returning guest from Walsh Wednesday. If you ever listened to the Walsh Wednesday Reflective series from years ago, we have returning guest Joyce Hills. She's the virtual production supervisor of the new film The Feather, and new guest with us, we have one of the producers on the film, Elliana Bertrand, here to talk about The Feather, which is this new project that's being a part of the inaugural Martin Scorsese Virtual Production Center cohort at NYU. Amazing. Joyce, Elliana, how are you guys?
Doing great.
Feeling good. We're on break, so it's like this is the first week in since September that we've been able to like relax, sleep in a little bit. So it's nice.
Yeah, to be able to breathe, because I'm sure like from September onward, it's just been probably like production, and just like constantly moving. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So first of all, before we get into like the nuts and bolts of what the movie is, of course, the Martin Scorsese Virtual Production Center cohort. First of all, Martin Scorsese, legend when it comes to films, and the fact that he's affiliated with this. But what exactly does it all mean? To me, since I don't know anything, that's just a bunch of words. So give me meaning to those words. Whoever wants to start us off.
So it's the first virtual production facility for student training of its kind. So we're all really excited to be here. And for those who don't know, virtual production has to do with the virtual LED wall. So they construct a giant LED wall in a studio space, and you use game engine technology to put a virtual environment up on the screen, and it's connected to the camera. So wherever you move, like in simplest terms, wherever you move the camera, the background renders appropriately. So you have a parallax effect. So you can do really anything. It's in-camera VFX. Is the right terminology, one of the terminologies. So like, for example, the show Fallout, if anybody's seen that show, that was all virtual production technology. Some of the environments, I think they constructed as CGI, and then some of them were video plates, but it was all shot on a virtual production volume.
Yeah, kind of also like The Mandalorian too, right? That was like a big,
exactly like
big
The Mandalorian.
One.
Yeah, that was the genesis of all of it. So it's really, really exciting. We still, shed a little tear every time we see the wall.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's beautiful.
It's surreal.
That's amazing. Eliana, you want to add on to that?
Yeah. I guess something else to mention about it, something they always tell us is, so there's a common term in like films or in the film industry where it's like fix it in post. Like if you have an issue during production or in pre-production, there's this idea that once you get to post-production, you can kind of fix those things there and like leave it for later. And it's funny because our professors have been telling us fix it in pre. And like I had never heard that term. And I was like, what is that? But I think the cool thing about virtual production is you are literally crafting everything in pre. And like something we can talk about later is the concept of the previs, which is something we do in Unreal Engine. We're basically recreating the entire film and every movement and every frame you see with the environments that we've built in Unreal. To kind of get a full visual idea of it before we go into production. So that's the cool thing about virtual production is it just gives you so much more freedom to really like design every little thing you're going to see like before you even go into production. And another thing I'll say really quick is I think for the actors, they like it more. I don't know. That's my prime perspective. I'm not an actor. But I think like in terms of green screen, right? Like if comparing it to green screen, if you're putting an actor in front of a green screen, they're having to really use their imagination more, of course, and they're actors and they're good at it. But I think the thing with virtual production is like they're there, like they're there. They can see all the CGI is like surrounding them. So I think that's cool for the performance as well.
As somebody who does act, I do prefer being immersed in it. So I would imagine working on the volume would be astounding. Yet to do anything like that. I've been doing a lot of practical or stage stuff. And also as somebody who's an editor, I hate the term fix it in post. So I'm so happy that everybody is saying fix it in pre, get that worked out initially. So I think that's great. So this, again, this is the inaugural year of this. This is the ground floor, and you guys are getting in on this. This is incredible. So now with an understanding of what it is, thank you guys for that. How does it feel personally to be able to use this technology and to be able to be on the ground floor of something that's still relatively so new and in its infancy when it comes to the film industry?
Yeah, I can go first. I felt like when I first got there and met all of my peers and met the professors, I felt like they let me in by mistake. I was like, are you guys sure? Like you wanted me here? Everybody's so just so incredibly talented and everybody has such a different background and different priorities and goals, but we all kind of come together in various really deep ways. Like we all connect. It was like there's six of us on our thesis team, and we all kind of sat down at the table in like the first 2 weeks and said, "Hi, nice to meet you. So, what are your most closely held beliefs? What themes do you want to explore for like one of the most important short films you've made so far?" And it was surreal that we all connected over something really universal with
Yeah.
all of our experiences and with all of our backgrounds. We really got very quickly to the core of like this really relatable and really moving story. And there's nothing like it. And on a personal note, that's what stood out the most to me. It was just that experience.
That's cool. Well, that's also insane having like six people all just meeting each other. It's like, here, shove you into a room, come up with something. That's pretty daunting, but I'm very impressed by everything. Eliana, do you want to add your perspective on that all too, please?
Yeah, it's so surreal. Like I feel so lucky to be there every day. Like Joyce said, every time I see the volume, even if it's for like the 50th time, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. And I feel so lucky. I remember when I first got to New York, I went to the NYU like ID center to get my physical ID. And I was in there and I overheard these two people talking in the corner and they were like, "Oh, did you hear about the new like Martin Scorsese Center? Have you gotten to go yet?" And the other girl was like, "No, but I want to go. Like, it looks so cool. I don't know, like who's allowed to go in." And they're like talking about it in the corner while I'm getting my ID, and I was like, wait, this is so cool. And yeah, I don't know. I think especially once the program got rolling, and I just realized like the professors we have, how smart they are, the guest speakers, the resources. It's just unlike anything I could have imagined. I'm so grateful. I did my undergrad in Texas and I had a wonderful experience, but being here, it's like surreal just because some of the resources we have and some of the people we've gotten to speak to, like I didn't have anything like that there. And so it's just I'm so grateful. And seriously, it like motivates me to work so hard every day because I am like, I can't believe I'm here like every day, like Joyce was saying. It's like, oh my gosh.
It's absolutely amazing and quite the privilege that you guys have, but I know that you guys are certainly making great use out of it all. So let's talk about that use. The feather. Really excited about this. Joyce and I were talking about this beforehand. She was telling me about it. I was looking at the IMDb for it. I was reading up and it's like, ooh, this sounds good. I can't wait to check this out. So for those listening, whoever wants to take the reins first, what is this about? What is the feather all about?
The main concepts that we really wanted to explore are fate and this idea of maybe being able to defy fate or create your own. That was something that really resonated with us. I couldn't tell you how I mean, we were talking about interest in fantasy, and then we were talking about Vikings because I have some experience like researching Vikings, and then all of a sudden we had characters and there was a story and it was done and it was like it always existed, which was
Wow.
really an amazing brainstorming process. So our story is about two chieftains, Aldrich and Hilda, and they're married. They're a couple, and they love each other very much. And there's nothing more important to them than their relationship, and they're fighting with honor. So they're pursuing a particular enemy. There's going to be a huge battle on the following day. And Aldrich is visited by Skuld, who is a Norn. And the Norns in Viking mythology, they would weave like this tapestry of fate, and they knew everything that was going to happen to you, and you couldn't defy whatever it was that they said was your fate.
Mm.
He's visited by Skuld in this dream, who says that both of you will die, but only one of you will be taken to Valhalla. By a Valkyrie, which is really bad news because obviously they want to go to Valhalla together and train to fight in Ragnarok. That was the main thing that all Vikings wanted to do, and that mythology was woven into every day of their lives. It's a lot to imagine and think about, like what such a brutal philosophy and set of values would do to you in your daily life. So when
Yeah.
they learn this prophecy, that's the beginning of the film, and then the middle of the film is about exploring if it's real. Maybe it was just a dream. Now,
Mm.
probably wasn't a dream. This probably is real. So what are we going to do? And then the crux of the film, without harping too much on some of the twists that we
Don't
have in the
spoil.
film.
Don't spoil.
No spoiler, without really getting into those spoilers. The core of the film is about what each character decides to do and has massive implications for fate and what we are capable of because we are able to love each other. I think that's kind of the
Wow.
big secret. Like for me personally, I think that's the big secret for life in general, is that we're all capable of loving each other so much that there's nothing we can't do. So
Mm.
that was kind of the universal theme that we're really exploring. No spoilers. Yeah, and we have some really cool, I don't think we can say it yet, but we have really awesome relationships with some cultural advisors
Huh.
who've done some other really big projects in the past. We reached out to them. They've been looking over our materials and our previs and talking to us about making this really culturally accurate and not stereotypical. Because there's some things that you see in like Assassin's Creed, and it's
Mm.
like, oh, that must be how it is. And we've been able to talk to actual experts in their fields in Norse mythology, Viking studies, and they've been able to tell us, no, actually, Jotuns aren't always tall and blue, that kind of thing. So that's been a really incredible experience as well.
Oh, that's really great. And I'm happy that you guys have been able to dive into obviously the mythology of it all to get this authentic Viking vibe, but also exploring something that is so genuinely human. And it's funny that we're having this conversation because I feel like in the past week, I've been talking to a lot of people about the concept of man versus fate. So it's weird that this is just adding on to that conversation for me. Um, Interesting timing. With all that being said, here you are with the previs and everything and talking about how wonderful it is. But I'm sure, like, again, since this is the inaugural year, this is still very early. What kind of limitations and technical challenges have you guys seen in this so far?
I think, you know, virtual production it's imperfect as everything is imperfect, but it's you ha working with virtual production, you have to prepare, you have to build in time for error, basically. Like, and by build in time, I mean like 3 hours, because um, it's a new technology and it's imperfect and it requires a lot of power to operate. And so you have to be ready for technical outages. It happens all the time. We'll be on the volume and like half the wall will go out, or the whole wall will go down, or a quarter of it. And you have to prepare yourself for that. So another thing, going back to like scheduling, is when we schedule our days, we have to literally build in time for technical error because it's inevitable. And it's an amazing technology. And when it's working, it works really well and it can create something really beautiful, but it's inevitable that it's not going to work, like, sometimes. So that is a big technical, I guess, challenge we've run into is in the fall semester when we were working on the volume doing other projects. We were like, oh, okay, like it's pretty inevitable that there's going to be like an issue, like half the wall goes down, like so yeah, that's part of it. So you have to be ready for that, and we have time built in for that. So that's the biggest one, I think. The wall is unpredictable.
I can see that. I remember working on plenty of projects with Joyce at St. Rose, along with a lot of other, I did a lot of live sound for concerts. When something worked, it worked great. When it didn't, so I definitely understand that feeling of it all. I think that's fantastic. So now I kind of want to dial back a little bit. We kind of went headfirst into this film, but now I want to learn a little bit more about you guys' background. Elliana, since we are strangers to each other, we are just meeting right now. I'm very curious. What has your background been when it comes to filmmaking? Has it always been your goal to be a producer, or what has led you to this moment right now?
Yeah, so I was a ballerina growing up for like 7 years. And I was homeschooled for a part of that. I was really serious about it. And I ended up dropping the ballet I wanted to go to normal school. Like I was like, okay, I want to be normal for a couple years. But I think what I took from ballet was I actually really enjoyed like the storytelling aspect of the classical ballets more than the actual dancing. Because I would like go home and look up like, oh, Don Quixote and all these stories. Like I was so interested in them. And I was like, okay, I think I like that, more than the actual dancing. So I kind of took that with me. Um, but I actually wanted to be a psychologist. So I went down that route when I got to Baylor University, where I did my undergrad. Um, but then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do film. So yeah, I guess I don't know exactly like the moment I decided I wanted to do film. I think it was really when I watched like the Shawshank Redemption. I was like, oh my God, I want to make something
Great
like this.
film, classic.
Yeah. So then anyway, did film school at Baylor, and then in between my years at Baylor, I would take summer classes at USC, School of Cinematic Arts, and just to get more, more. And that was amazing. Oh my gosh, I met the most amazing people there, and I really decided, okay, I want to be a filmmaker, specifically producer, director. And then I kind of expanded a little bit my senior year at Baylor. I started producing live stage productions. So Baylor does these big like stage productions every year. Not necessarily like musical theater, but
Just
they
plays.
have
Yeah.
yeah, kind of. It's like Baylor's an interesting place. But yeah, I ended up producing those, and I
Nice.
loved it. Like I was like, I love this, and I loved like the excitement and the adrenaline of like a live production. So I loved that. And then I also started doing some AI research. So I did that my senior year. So kind of a bunch of things, but all of that combined, I was like, okay, virtual production is the place for me because I love the technology side. I love learning about AI, and I love producing. I love being creative. So this like made the most sense for me to go down that path. So that's
Amazing.
like the Spark. It's the Spark Notes version
The
of my
Spark Notes
background.
version. Do kids even know what Spark Notes are anymore? Is that still a thing? I don't know, but I'm not
You know,
100% sure.
I say that phrase a lot, and I said it the other day to someone, and they were like, "What's Spark Notes?" So I need
Yeah,
to come up with something else.
I know. It's like see,
Wow.
I would say for the longest time the Reader's Digest version, and I know
Oh,
that's extremely outdated. And the Spark Notes version I thought was still,
I
up to
guess
date.
not.
But I said that too to somebody recently, and yeah, glazed over. It was like, look, it was like Spark Notes. What are you talking about? It's like, is that not a thing? Jesus. But no, that's fantastic, Eliana. I think that's an incredible journey, and I can't wait to see what happens more from you, especially in this Project The Feather. Now, Joyce, want to throw it over to you. I'm a little more aware of your background, of course, but we want to show it off to other people around today. One thing that I do want to mention before you get deep into it, one of the projects we worked on together, The Last Ditch, did it right before the pandemic at the College of St. Rose. And it's amazing because it's actually having a bit of a resurgence this year. Reason being, the whole story was about a program closing and the school closing down and everything getting sold off. And then 4 years later, that actually happens to the exact school that we did it in. So, Joyce, I have to ask, what information did you have a preview to that the rest of the student body didn't have yet?
That's
Listen,
crazy.
I feel really bad. I did not know. I really, really did not know. Um, Intuition though is a really powerful thing because a lot of things came to an end after, we did that in 2019.
Yeah.
And a lot of things came to an end after 2019. So I don't know what I knew, but I feel really bad. I kid you not though. Probably a couple of days before you and I connected, I I looked at Last Ditch on YouTube for the first time, probably since 2019 or maybe early 2020. I don't even know. And I took a screenshot, and it was a scene you and I were sitting there. And I took it because I was trying to explain to some of my friends what I look like with short hair. Like that was the only I was just trying to get a look at my bob that I had had when we shot that. And I was looking at us and I was like, we look like little babies. This might as well, at 2019, might as well have been a different
Decades ago rather
decade.
than just 5 years ago. Absolutely.
But
But
and at the same time, 5 years sounds crazy to me.
it does.
Five
But
years?
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's silly. I don't like it either. But that being said, what's it feel like to have this resurgence to this mini series that you created? Now that a lot of what happened in it did come to fruition to some degree, and people are now rediscovering it because they have some kind of kinship with it now. What's that feel like to have people go back and experience this work that you created that has a brand new life to it?
I super didn't know about this. This
I've been
is
talking to so many people about it. So many people have been telling me it's like I went back to Last Ditch, or I just refound Last Ditch, or so many people are like going back to this because of the instances with St. Rose.
I had no idea. I did not know about this. You're telling me now for the first time. Yeah, I really didn't know that. So that's really funny to hear that. I hope that it's in a good way. I hope that it's in like a solidarity way.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. Based on what I've heard, yeah.
I find a lot with work sometimes I make it and then I realize later how much I need it. Like there was another short film that I did and it was just wandering around Albany. And I was like, I don't know why I'm motivated to make this. And now it's like I'm so happy that I have it because I can go back and look at those places and remember exactly how I felt then. And it's like a little time capsule for me. So I hope that that's kind of what this is.
Mhm.
Um, just a moment in time and it feels kind of nice now. Like I hope that that's what it is.
A lot, if based on what people are telling me, they've been saying how like they just miss it and everything, and it just kind of feels like being back there in a way and kind of reliving the last few days. Because for many, those really were the last few days for them on campus anyway. Even people
Yeah.
who did go on to graduate after 2020 still had a lot of virtual classes, or they had, or if they were on campus, they were like confined to all these different rules because of the pandemic. So it was different. It was like that. The last ditch was like that last itch of normalcy. So, yeah, now you have that to linger with you and think about that because people are rediscovering it. So, which is fantastic. Besides that, though, you've done other projects. I've been hogging up the time talking about Last Ditch, but if you want to give a little more background on some of the stuff that you've been doing and some of the stuff you've been doing since Last Ditch, because again, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's in those 5 years, I feel like a cat. I've had like 9 different lives since then. Surviving the pandemic, that was the big accomplishment. That was a long time. Since then though, I studied at the New School in Manhattan on 13th Street. I really, really valued my time there. I would say that that was the foundation for most, if not everything that I will do next in my life. I took some really, really amazing classes there. I met some really, really wonderful and talented people. And that was kind of the first time I felt myself and the stories that I want to tell really start to explode and get some clarity on what it was that I really wanted to do. I realized my interest in virtual production there. And I was starting to like kind of piece together what that journey would look like. And I was like, okay, maybe if I take this class and then I go over here and I do this, and maybe if I do that, I can eventually break into virtual production. And then a week later, I was on an NYU Tisch email list that I completely forgot about. And a week after I had my big revelation that I wanted to work in virtual production, I get an email in my inbox, NYU Tisch announcing the Martin Scorsese Virtual Production Master's Program. And I was like, what is this? I have to get into this. I have to do whatever I have to. And then here I am. But yeah, at New School, I was able to learn about that. I took a lot of classes in like technology philosophy, which was really interesting because I've always been I've always known writing, creating, and then filmmaking. That was always going to be a part of my life. But I've always been so interested in technology and science, and I've never really understood the very stark divisions between the two.
Mm.
So that's kind of the biggest leap of faith that I've taken in my life is trying to bring those two interests together, that interest in technology and science and why does the universe look this way? Why do things behave this way? And then bringing it in with making art. And I've always loved science fiction. So now it's like every day of my life is actual science fiction, and it's really awesome. So that has been the journey of a lifetime on its own to go from the past and not knowing where necessarily my voice fit into the current landscape and what people were doing and just not understanding how to bring all of my interests together to realizing how connected they all are and to finally feeling like there was a place now to start exercising some of the ideas that I had and the interests that I had, and to find like-minded people. That's been unbelievable.
Amazing. That's so good. And I'm going to have to clip some of that because
That's
beautiful.
fine.
Fantastic sound bites in there. So sounds so good. Joyce, I really love that for you and what you were talking about with the science fiction and all, and kind of going from the beginning of the not understanding where we were, and how that kind of like tells the story of where you are with the Vikings and everything, to where you are now, all the technology that you're using to put it all together, and you're mixing all those worlds and beliefs and feelings all together. And I love that, and I'm excited for that for you guys. So now, for those who are interested, where people can follow you guys and support you guys, can you, either one of you, tell us about that?
Our Instagram is the Feather Film, and we would love and appreciate anyone who would like to follow. And we're going to share a lot of cool BTS on there soon. Right now, we have some crew bios. So if you want to read about our team members, our composers, we just posted any other updates, it's all on there. And then we have a Season Spark page that just went live this week. Our goal is we need to raise $15,000, which sounds hefty, but making movies is so expensive, especially a period piece like this. But we just hit halfway to our goal this morning, so we're very excited. So yeah, that page will be up for another 28 days. So yeah, 28 days. And then yeah, our IMDb is linked in Instagram, and yeah, that's what we have for now
Sounds good.
in terms of links, but yeah.
Beautiful. And of course, we'll have that in the links and description of all this so people can get in on that. And probably by the time this airs, you'll probably, hopefully, have reached that goal or very close to it. So that'll be nice. With that being said, do you guys have any last little nuggets for the Walsh Wednesday listening audience before we completely wrap up and you guys run back to working on this film?
I'm so excited to be working on this, and expect the unexpected. We're constantly making changes all the time, so I feel like I have no idea how it's going to end up looking, to be honest, because we're always like, but yeah, I'm so excited, and we would love and appreciate any support anyone offers. We've been so grateful so far just for the people supporting us and that have been following the page and donating. So yeah, we just want to say thank you to those who have, and we're excited about what's to come.
Beautiful. Joyce, anything to add on that?
Take a look at our Seed and Spark. We have some really cool incentives where you can be a part of our team. And we would love to have you and welcome you to this amazing journey that has meant so much to us, and we hope means so much to you.
Fantastic. And hey, you guys are going to have to keep me in the loop once things get a little bit further. And then once everything is out, so we can promote that, we can all watch that together. That'd be fantastic. I can't wait for it all for you guys. I know you still have, a little while on this journey, but I'm excited for it for you guys. And I can't wait to keep supporting and rooting y'all on. So Joyce, Elliana, thank you so much for being here on Walsh Wednesday, and really excited about the Feather movie, which of course you can support by going to the links and information in the description of this episode below. So you better do it. Joyce, Elliana, thank you so much. I'm Connor.
I'm Joyce.
I'm Elliana.
And we're glad we get to
Spend some time.
Spend some time.
Hey there, and welcome back to another Walsh Wednesday. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I am so happy to be here at the Academy of Film, Television, Stage, and Performing Arts, Inc., and it's so nice to be speaking with these guys again. We met through the radio station that I used to work at, so now it's their time to make their Walsh Wednesday debut. We got a lot to get into when it comes to the arts. We got singing and music. We have stage and film, literally just as the Academy says, film, television, stage, and performing arts. We're going to be covering it all today. We have a lot of great stuff to go through. So with us, we have Nan Gill-Wilson and David Wilson. Nan, David, how are you guys?
Oh, we're great.
Oh, fantastic. Again, thank you for having me here at the Academy. Now, of course, this is your new location. You just got into this about like a few months ago. You want to talk about the new space at all?
Yeah, it's called the North King Center, right? It's on 21 North Street in Middletown, New York. Seneca King is the owner of the building, and we had been working out of Collab in Goshen for quite a while. but we just outgrew the space. We couldn't do as much as we wanted to be able to do there. And so you're the one that found this, right?
Yes, I found it.
Nice.
I went
like
on.
almost everything that we
I went
find.
looking for co-working space. And Seneca King is amazing to work with.
Yeah, he's a great
And
guy.
He really is supportive of the arts.
Tremendous
So,
guy.
And he also has a school downstairs, and they teach cosmetology, tattooing, and a barber shop.
Teaches
cutting
barbering.
hair.
He also has a barber shop of his own, right?
Wow.
But he also has a barber college downstairs.
So then to have you guys upstairs now doing all this as well, it's like, this
That's
is a
great.
heck of a building and all
Yeah.
the stuff that's being offered.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And there's so much space. I mean, there's just so much space. And the ceilings are so high. You can shoot your lights.
It's an old
and
bank.
stuff,
It was a bank.
I was going to say, the outside gives bank vibes. So I was very
Yeah,
curious.
Which is so kind of weird because when you come up on the street and there's a barber pole inside of a bank building, it's like, woo, okay.
Hey, but it works. And
But they redid this whole neighborhood. I
Mhm.
remember when we shot Collar, we shot a bunch of courthouse stuff, and at the college up the street, and then at the courthouse, which is like 2 blocks away. And this neighborhood back then, 15 years ago, was that?
Yeah.
Or 12 years ago?
Yep.
It was
Not a good one.
not good.
But now it's all been
And
done.
they've reconditioned, they've refurbished the entire area, and it's really coming alive. It's kind of
There's
neat.
great restaurants.
Lots of restaurants and bars, and so we've kind of moved into a hub here,
yeah.
which we really like. But we're looking to do a lot of stuff here. Actually, we've got one performance that's coming up on the 15th. It's actually a Valentine's Day celebration. Before COVID, I was working with my partner, Martin Schwartz, my piano guy, and we were doing a bunch of dates of Once More Frankly. I knew Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was a good friend of mine. I love the guy. He was just, man, I'm telling you, what a prince. We were doing the show, and then we haven't done it in 5 years. And then I said, you know what, I want to do a Valentine's Day show. So I called Marty up, and he hadn't been playing at all. And so it's like we're both coming out of mothballs to do another Frank show. They're all Frank Sinatra standards, all the Valentine's special. My Funny Valentine. The way we were. I like singing rock and roll too. We've got some stuff going on there. I recorded an album. It's technically a country pop album that's been out for a while now, and some of the stuff's really started to move. You just got to be patient in this business.
It's incredible. It's not always the initial release, but you give it a little time and you get things going. But hey, you've really shown, you've been a part of this. You've been working in this business for a while. As we discovered back at the radio station, you were on my favorite episode of Magnum PI, of course. And I have fond memories of it with my grandmother and everything.
Wow.
We would watch the series together.
Wow,
and
that was a while ago.
yeah, that one, of course, and a few other projects we'll definitely be talking about. But just so everybody can see the Once More Frankly Valentine's Day
There
show.
it is. That's it.
And that's going to be here, correct?
Right here.
It will be right
we're-
here, 21 North Street in Middletown. And there'll be dessert and coffee and
It's actually a benefit.
wine and spirits.
Yep.
And it's a benefit. We're going to benefit the LA victims of the
And
LA.
firefighters and victims.
Wow.
Come
So
out and support LA and have some fun.
Seneca also has a 501c3, and the Academy is a 501c3. So, these are charitable organizations that are working together to support community efforts, which is really a great thing.
Absolutely. It is a great thing. And the way that you guys have been able to do it so far, and especially now for these LA fires, to be able to help support that for Valentine's
Wow.
Day, the weekend of love is what better way to be able to spread love and
Yeah,
altruism to your fellow human, your fellow man and everything.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
of course that's going to be happening on the 15th. We'll make sure that we have all the links and information in the description along with things that we got going on.
Great.
But
Thank you.
of course, with this space, the Academy, one of the main key points that you focus on is the Meisner technique. Anybody who has studied acting to any degree has probably heard of this. You actually had a chance to actually work with.
I worked with him for 2.5 years.
Yeah, and Bill Esper, who was
Every
one of
day,
his.
Bill Esper was
Yup.
his number 2 guy.
Absolutely. So,
he was his number 1 guy. It was Sandy, and then it was Bill.
Yeah.
And then there was William Alderson and Fred Karaman, whom I really loved. I loved Freddie. It was an incredible experience to be able to be with the man who created the method and to work directly with him. We had a lot of friction between us, but he was such a character, this guy.
Little guy from Brooklyn talk like this. So, "Oh, what are you doing over there? You're not doing anything. Acting is doing. You got to do something."
He was a character. And I loved him, man. I was glued to every word he said.
Yeah.
Because I've been in this business now 55 years, more than half a century. I can't even believe I can say that. And the technique has never failed.
Yeah.
It has never failed me. You know, I failed to use it properly on occasion. I'll leave an element out, or there's something that I overlooked in the detail of putting together the characterizations that I do. It in of itself, it's just a perfect method, you know.
So for anybody who's unfamiliar with it, would you be able to give a brief overview of what exactly the method entails?
Okay, so the definition of acting, according to Meisner, was being and doing truthfully from moment to moment to moment. And what the technique is about is giving you exercises that allow you to develop that ability to stay present to what's in the moment and stay focused on what it is that you're doing as the character. I mean, you're not playing yourself. Nobody's playing themselves when they're doing a role. But not only is it that, you want to be able to do it so that it's safe, number one, and number two, that you're going to be able to continue to do it.
Yes.
You know, there are so many actors out there that are trained in other techniques that no longer want to work because they can't, because they're so crippled by the emotional lives that they created that they can't escape.
Yeah.
Well, Meisner's technique was so healthy, it was all about using the imagination to create the circumstances surrounding the character so that you could live in that character, right? And then when you were done with the character, you could put the rest of the stuff aside and go on and have your life, you know, and enjoy your life.
Absolutely. Kind of on the other end of the spectrum, you have your method actors, of course, and that's the other far and where it can get very dangerous side to it.
Well,
why is this method better and healthier compared to somebody like, you know, you see Daniel Day-Lewis or your Jared Leto's who go crazy over roles because they go to method? Why is this healthier?
Because that method, okay, I mean, look, Meisner's is a method too, but that method, and they're both ostensibly based in Stanislavski. Meisner's worked with the group theater back at the time when the method first started, and he worked with Strasberg. They were both part of the group, and they split off. Actually, Meisner started the Actors Studio with Lee, and then what happened was they had a falling out over the emotional preparation for characterization. What Strasberg was saying was sense memory. You know, it was about creating, it was about going back and digging up all kinds of things in your past or in your history, some of which were very painful, and dragging them into the performance of the character. Well, when you're done with that, you can't walk away from that. Meisner used to say all the time,
There's nothing living back there. And once you dig up the bodies, you got to put them back in the hole. Not so easy.
You got a pet cemetery situation going on within yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want that.
Exactly. And Meisner's whole thing was all about use your imagination, this incredible factory for creating truth. Okay, real truth, not like what we see in the political environment or the social environment or even the business environment, you know, where people manipulate all kinds of things to get what they want. You can't do that as an actor because people know right away, this is phony, this is bull, you know?
Yeah.
So the whole idea was to use things that are of importance and specifically significant in your life to create situations around, right, where it generates the same emotion, but when you're done with it, it's nothing but imagination.
And,
right?
when you're acting, you have to recreate the same scene over
and over again.
You're on stage, you have maybe 8 performances a week. So if you're going back into an emotional state 8 times a week, it's really not good health.
Well, it's not. You're going to have to get to that emotional state in any of it, but you can't keep digging up that body 8 times a week and expect it to leave you in any kind of peace.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It may leave you in pieces with, like, you know, Philip Seymour Hoffman and, you know, Heath Ledger and these guys that even Daniel Day-Lewis, man, he's not acting anymore.
No, he's retired.
What a tragedy, man.
I know. And it's kind of funny, like the amount of movies that he's done, not that many.
No.
He's in great movies, but each one took so much out of him.
Well, and his statement was, I can't take 4 years to recover from a film that it took me 2 years to create the character.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. There isn't anything that you can't experience in life that you can't imagine having experienced. And it has to be truthful. That's the whole key. In order to be able to get to that truth, I've got to focus on you. It's not about me. It's about the character, and it's about how he interacts and relates to whatever's with him in that moment.
Naturally. Now, Nan, with seeing the students that come in here, from your perspective of it, what are they getting out of learning all of this?
Well, it's beautiful to see how excited they get when they get to do it and when they work with each other. The thing is, he moved on, and not only is it the Meisner method, but he made it modern Meisner method, which brought it up to the current status of what's going on in the film.
Yeah, you see, there's so much of what you have to interact with that isn't even there anymore.
That's also
You're dealing with CGI, and you're dealing with virtual realities, right? None of that stuff was there when I studied.
Yeah.
Right. Although, but I was there as it developed. So I could see how you needed to be able to relate to each other and work in that space of non-existence. Actually, the Superman that I did, It's a Birds of Flame, one of the things that
wanted to talk about that. Yeah.
That was the first use of green screen.
Yeah.
Because before that, the only thing that they had what they called chroma blue. So here, I mean, they've got me flying through the air in this. It's actually the Selznick Studios where they did It's Gone with the Wind, right? I had Clark Gable's dressing room.
Well, makes sense. Clark Kent, Clark Gable. There you go.
There you go. So here I am. It was Clark's room. I never thought about that. That's kind of that's a good one. I like that. So, they got me flying with this production. Let me tell you, this was shoestring production. Norman Twain. I don't know how we managed to pull it off, but in any event, I mean, it is kind of a cartoon piece in itself. They've got me on a table, right? And I'm arching my back. You can't see that my stomach is flat against the table, right?
Yep.
The table's painted this color blue. Everything else is the same color blue, right? And they're all day long. We shot. They're flying. They're rolling this table across one way, the other way. They're pulling it in on ropes and flying. And I'm diving. I'm doing all this stuff, right? They go to look at dailies the next day. They come back. And Jack Regas, the director, he's shaking his head. He said, "We got to do it all again." I said, "What? I have to do all of that stuff again?" "Yeah, why is that?" He looks at me. "Your eyes are the same color blue as the blue screen. It looks like you have holes in your head while you're flying around when they're doing the video processing."
See, I was going to say it's like, Superman's costume is blue, so I was wondering if that was an issue, but it was your eyes.
A different shade of blue.
Wow.
Right? My eyes were exactly the shade of blue that the blue screen was.
That's crazy.
The next day we go back to shoot it, and it's all green.
It's all green.
That was the first time to my knowledge, that they used green screen, and they've been using it ever since.
Yeah,
because they figured nothing's going to match that color green. They made sure that they got one that was off the.
You hope so, at least. If I have my research correct, that was 1975 on ABC, 3 years before Christopher Reeve made people believe that a man could fly.
Interesting thing about Chris Reeve, Chris and I got our start in Hollywood together, and we did a film for Universal that Darryl Zanuck was the executive producer on. The Mirish brothers, Walter and Paul Mirish, that did the Pink Panther. They were producing on it with Charlton Heston, Gray Lady Down. Was the name of the movie. Christopher was a bone back then. He was 6'4", weighed about 170 pounds. He and I were both up for that Superman that Dick Donner was doing, but Donner wanted somebody who'd never done it before. So he liked Chris. Chris gained 50 pounds of muscle. I used to run into him a lot. We lived in the same neighborhood on the Upper West Side. I ran into him on the street one day around 72nd Street. He said, "David, I took a bunch of stuff from you." He said, "Yeah, I know, Chris." I said, but that's okay, because that's what we do. That's what actors do. They see a piece of business they like, use it.
Yep.
But you got to find a way to use it truthfully. It can't come out of nowhere, and it's got to be organic to your performance.
Got to find it somewhere within yourself. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I loved Chris, man. What a shocking! That was a tremendous loss.
Oh my God, absolutely. No, big fan for many years myself. And obviously with James Gunn and David Cornsweet coming out with Superman later this year, if you ever had a chance to speak to the new actor, what would you say about approaching the role of Superman?
Do it completely in earnest. Establish yourself. You do the research in the background. Make sure you understand everything that you can possibly know about the character, and then just let him be. Let him live in you. Just make it your own and live truthfully to the values that Superman lived by.
Absolutely. I think something that Superman has needed in a lot of media lately, and I think people in general just need, is a sense of hope. And I think definitely portraying that will be huge.
Well, I was reading Superman comics when I first started to read. Remember the comics? I remember Kirk Allen. Kirk Allen.
Yeah.
Right. And and of course George Reed. I watched him every week. When he was doing the series. So for me, not only was it an honor, but I wanted to make sure that I did as much as I could to keep it as clear and clean as I possibly could, given the form that it was in.
Yes.
See, that was much more a comic book form, what I was doing. I'm kind of like the forgotten Superman, because it was done in this kind of kitsch kind of takeoff on Superman. But you had to be honest. You had to be sincere. And I was Superman. Hello, Lois. That. But when I was Clark, you couldn't be Clark, and you couldn't be, if you're going to be Clark, you have to be Clark. Superman is Superman.
Yep.
But Clark is Clark. Hey, Lois, how are you? It's nice to see you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, Clark. Nice to see you too. You know,
Absolutely.
Leslie Ann Warren. I had a good time with her. We hit it off pretty good.
Very, very cool.
Matter of fact, she was the one that recommended that he go study voice with Seth Riggs.
Seth Riggs,
Oh,
right?
really? Yes.
I teach
Seth
his
Riggs.
I teach his thing.
By the way, Seth Riggs and everything.
Yeah, you got Michael Jackson right over our shoulder. That he trained Michael. He trained Janet, and Leslie Ann took me to him right after I'd done Superman, and he was actually responsible for getting my voice in shape to get my first record deal, right, with Private Stock Records. A guy named Larry Utah, who had Bell Records, started a new label. He had only 3 artists on it. It was me, Frankie Valli, and Nancy Sinatra, and that's how I met Frank.
Wow. And then here you are these years later, still carrying on the tunes and everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, when I met Sinatra, it was really a trip. He was doing a benefit at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and it was Father's Day, 1975 or 6. And Trader Vic's, this is a restaurant, was downstairs at the Hilton in Beverly Hills. And we went in there, there's 4 of us, me and my writing partner and her boyfriend and one other friend that we had. And we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden, the door opens, and standing at the top of the stairs is Sinatra. He's on his first date with Barbara Marx. And he's got Jilly Rizzo and his wife, and Billy Wilder and his wife.
Really?
Right. Yeah, listen, what a trip. And they come downstairs, and they say, oh, that's Sinatra. I said, you want to meet him? They said, no, don't, David, don't do it. Don't do it. He'll punch you out. I said, no, he won't. That's nonsense. So I was drinking, back when I drank a zillion years ago, I was drinking a Scorpion, right, which had back in Trader Vic's, they're like swimming pools with a flower floating in it, right? And so I snatched this gardenia out of the water, and I shook it off, and I went over to him, tapped him on the shoulder. He turns around real quick, like, I said, no, Mr. Sinatra, I don't want to interfere with your company and anything, but I know you're a father. I'm a father. I just signed on a deal with Private Stock, the label that your daughter's on, and I just want to wish you a happy Father's Day, right? And he turns to his people. This is on his first date with a woman he's eventually going to marry, right? He said, excuse me, everybody, I got to go over and say hi to my friends.
Oh, wow.
And he comes over, he sits down for like a half an hour. He's talking everything, man. He's giving me the keys to the business and what I should do and don't do. He says, they started a label because of me. I can't even get on the floor where the record company is anymore. Right? It was just, but he was just a prince. I loved him, man. He invited us down to, he was just starting his residency at Caesar's Palace. He said, come on down for the weekend, have some fun. So I got this caravan to go down to Las Vegas to Caesar's Palace. We get down there, and I call upstairs. He said, call when you get here, and we'll make sure, you're taken care of. So we get there, and I call up, and he says he's not seeing anybody. And I said, well, could you tell him David Wilson's here with his party, and he invited us down for the weekend. So he takes the phone. David, I'm so sorry. And I just found out that one of my best friends was murdered. On the way down there, we had heard the report that they found Sam Giancana, who was the head of the Chicago mob. His body was stuffed in an oil drum and was floating off of the back of the Queen Mary. It was out in Long Beach. But even so, he said, listen, I tell you what, stick around. You guys have a good time. Hang out. You want to spend the night, swim in the pool, whatever you want to do, and I'll take care of it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, just unbelievable guy. He was just a peach.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah, and he didn't even know how many people I brought down there. I mean, we had only 20 of us.
Oh my God. Fortunately, he has a natural level of fame and influence. So,
well, when we were living in the apartment complex, when a word got around, right, everybody in the apartment complex was going down there.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh wow.
I mean, we had a good time down there anyway, but it was really a sad situation.
That is a sad situation, but glad you were at least able to have the experience and have the connection.
Yeah.
And of course, while we're still talking about Sinatra, once more, frankly, Valentine's Day.
Yay, there you go.
Of course.
February 15th, 7:30 p.m. right here.
Yeah, absolutely. But fantastic stories about Sinatra and everything, and you'll be embodying that in the music. Let's talk about some other shows that got coming up. You were telling me earlier, Nan, about the shows that you guys got coming up in March. Would you guys like going into that so people can, come on over here and see everything? Oh, I see you taking off the hat, getting ready for it and all.
Yeah, we've got a show.
It's a shame you don't have the camera working because
I think it's on now.
Is it on now?
I think it's still good now. Yes, it is.
Well,
I'm just going to flip this over. To make sure
hello. Very nice to see you all out there. My name's Albert. You can come and see me on March 29th at 7:30 at the Presbyterian Church in Goshen, New York. I will be doing my show, E equals me too, which is actually what the equation was written as.
Yes.
Everybody thought it was E equals MC squared. They just couldn't read my E. It looked like a C. And then I was, the 2, I just wrote 2, and I guess it must have been offline. They thought, oh, it's exponential. That's great. Okay, so this means the universe. I said, yes, well, sort of, I guess. It's just E equals me too. I'm one. I'm one of them. I'm one of you.
There you go.
Yeah, I am. So
absolutely, look at that, uncanny,
It's
very,
gonna be
very.
fun.
yeah, and I have a special guest that shows up too, but I won't give that away yet. I don't want to tip too much of that,
But it's a fantastic show. We've talked about this before, and so now you're doing this in Goshen. Talk about the earlier runs. What do you guys say about how it went originally, and now what you guys are looking forward to for March?
There's more and more information that comes out that that actually verifies what Einstein hypothesized. A lot more information about quantum mechanics, things like that, which he eventually he steered away from because it wasn't exacting enough. But he was such an incredible human being, a very funny man. His closest friend was Charlie Chaplin. He met him when he picked up his Nobel Prize. Chaplin went out to Caltech to see him get his award and introduced himself, and they were fast friends after that forever. He had a lot of amazing relationships too. He was a real ladies man.
Yes.
He could not pass up a skirt, man. He was like, oh, look at that leg. I wonder. And so he was quite a character. And we go through the history. It's really quite a piece. The reaction was phenomenal. We did it at the Chester Library first. Was that?
We also did it. Didn't we do it at the Goshen Library?
At Goshen Library too. And we got tremendous response. And really, I mean, I wanted to take it down to the street, but right now you got to take, like I said, you got to be patient and let these things develop.
Absolutely, and of course, when we talked about this before on the radio station, really talking about the human side of him, the comedy, the love, the relationships. That's what this really focuses on.
He felt things very deeply. He was an incredible human being and a wonderfully generous human being. But he was a human being, and he was subject to human frailties. So just the exploration, the research that I've been doing, and his quotations are unbelievable. And I put a lot of that in the script too. So
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Fantastic
it's such
stuff.
a great. I just have such a good time. Most people don't know he was a virtuoso violinist.
Yeah.
He could have played with any orchestra in the world. I like to feel that I'm kind of embodying him and channeling him from the other side a little bit.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now,
We are doing a
always-
play together actually. We're
Yeah, we
doing
are.
Gin Game for the Catskill Public Theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, coming up. It's
It's
actually
going to be in the next summer.
in the summer, right?
In summer.
We've been started
It's
working
going
on
to be
that.
in Sullivan County.
Right,
And
and it's going to be coming down to Orange County too.
Bethel, Monticello, Bethel,
Livingston Manor,
and
yeah.
Goshen.
Oh,
Right.
wow. Amazing.
So, and they have a few other. They're going to do something from Woodstock also,
Oh, that's so cool.
and then something from Terror. Terror is a play that was written in Germany about a pilot who was called to interfere with an airplane that was carrying someone who was trying to take over the airplane.
Oh, wow.
And plow it into a stadium full of people. And he decided that he was going to get the plane to fall.
He crashed the
and
plane.
he shot it down.
Wow.
And he was held in trial because he was told not to do it. So that's one of the plays, and the other one is about Woodstock. It's
Nice.
going to be fun. And then David and I are going to be in Gin Gang.
Which was a Pulitzer Prize winning play that was done first by Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy, who were married.
What's it about? I don't think I've heard of it before.
Oh, man, they're two people that are in a nursing home. They play cards. They play
They
gin.
play gin.
Just playing a game of gin, okay.
And it explores all of the issues and frailties of these people throughout their lives and at this stage of their life specifically.
Wow.
And it's a great piece. It was
It's
D.L.
It's
Kober
really funny.
wrote it. Yeah, it's got a lot of funny stuff in it, but it's a very painful piece. There's a lot in it. It's a really good piece.
Amazing.
Actually, the last people to do it in a major production were James Earl Jones and Cecily Tyson. I think did a production of it
Really?
on Broadway. Yeah.
James Earl Jones, rest in peace, of course, and also Hudson Valley resident for many years too.
Yeah, that's right.
Not too far away from here. So when can people expect these shows? You said in the spring and the summer.
Well, also what I'm really jazzed about is our students are going to be doing scenes from the Sandbox.
That's March 30th.
That's
right?
30th. That's the night after. That's the day after.
The day after on a
the
Sunday
night
at
that
2
I
o'clock
do
in the afternoon.
E equals me too.
Fantastic. So let's talk about that for a second. Yes, the students get to
we've
work
got
on
some
all this
great.
stuff.
We got some of the best young actors. Been working with them now for a couple of years. Some of them maybe even longer.
Comes in NCI. We've got a couple of them that have, moved on.
I moved out to Hollywood, and I hope to God
teaches them the basics, and then they can go off
and
on
they
their
can
own.
fly.
you got to fly.
They can
That's
soar.
it. That's right.
Now the students, we work with them, and they take the first session,
Mhm.
and in the first session there's 8 classes, and when they finish that, they get to do a monologue, and he gives
That's-
them a 1-hour private,
Mhm.
and he tapes their monologue so they can use it to get acting
That's the
jobs.
tool. Those are the tools that you need to
That's
really
impressive.
impress people with what your capabilities are.
Yeah.
And we've had some wonderful people come through. We've now worked with several hundred actors, right?
Right.
Wow.
So yeah, and the talent here is just tremendous.
Hudson Valley area is just loaded with so much talent.
I'm
And then
telling you, and more films have got to come here because
they already have been. We're talking before how HBO, Netflix, all these other people.
D.W. Griffith,
Yeah.
right back at the turn of the 20th century, said Hudson Valley was the most perfect place on earth to make films. And that, this is D.W. Griffith that said that, right? And then Hollywood started happening,
Well,
because you didn't have the
thing
weather,
with Hollywood, they didn't have to worry about the cold.
right?
But
Yeah.
now we have stages.
Right.
Yep.
And you bring the outdoors indoors with all the CGI and everything. You think you're in a jungle and you're in a sound stage.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing stuff, and it's all coming here. And I've got a production that I thought was going to be a co-production with another company, but we're going to do it on our own. My script, Striker,
Yes.
right, which is about a young woman who wants to become the first Major League Baseball player, right? And also she's got some serious challenges too. But I've got
It's a horror film.
it's a horror film, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Just to give you a heads up.
Kind of has some. I remember we talked about it. Kind of has some Hitchcock vibes. You said before.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot of suspense, a lot of horror behind it.
The real suspense now is when is it going to get made? For me, and then we've got a great film about young women coming of age called The Big Ride, which is about 4 young women at a bus stop waiting for a bus that doesn't come, sort of like Waiting for Godot, and they discover who they are to each other, what's going on in their lives that binds them together, and how they can face the future.
Oh wow!
As women. Yeah, it's great, man. I really loved writing that one. So we're not giving up on anything here. We're just driving forward, man.
Anybody that wants to work with us, give us a call.
Absolutely. And what is the best way that people can get in contact with you guys?
Well, we're 845-820-8700, or we're ASFA. You spell it with the letters.
AFTSPA.org, right?
Yeah,
You can go
that's
on
our
the website. You can go to Willie Gilly Productions website. It's williegilly.com.
And there's a link for
And you
ASFA.
can connect with us there. And our production office's numbers are 845-294-7500. So there's lots of ways. Go to the website. You can get, not only do you see everything that we're doing, but you'll have a way of connecting with us. And you can, pick up tickets, make donations, whatever it is. The school operates entirely on donations. So, that's what we rely on, even with the performance that we're going to be doing. We're not charging for any tickets. There's a paid bar, and you have to be 21
For the bar.
Yeah.
for the bar. And we've got
Get the dessert and coffee if you're not 21.
There you go.
right. And there's also they can.
I might even make my brownies.
You don't want to miss her brownies, man. Oh man.
Fantastic.
And of course there'll be even at the bar there'll be Coke and 7-Up and different things that they can get.
Terrific.
And it's really going to be. We're really looking forward to just having fun.
Yeah.
See, that's really what it's about for us more than anything else. Is to create great product, right? Entertaining product, but have fun.
Yeah.
Because if it's not fun, why would you do it? It's not entertainment if it's not fun.
Amen.
And there's a lot of people that have a passion that they want to have.
Oh, yeah.
They want to be in the film business. They want to be on TV or whatever. And we have a TV show also called Empowering Women Everywhere,
Oh wow.
where we interview women that run nonprofits, and I also interview a few men that run nonprofits. But it's based on women doing work in the community, doing nonprofits. I started it for the safe homes up in Newburgh.
Yes.
Because she said to me the biggest angst she had was when she heard that someone had lost their life in a domestic violence situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And all they would have had to do was call
Contact
her,
her.
and she could have saved them and given them a place to live. So I tried to get a public service advertisement done, and I couldn't get anybody to run it. So I said, I'm going to do a public, see, you can do a show on public access.
Right.
And they play it. So we're empowering women everywhere is on over 50 markets across the country. We're in the Simi Valley. We're up in Massachusetts. We're all over the place.
Massachusetts?
So, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Anyone that has a 501c3 that's helping the community, they can get a free half-hour interview show that we put up on public access across the nation, and we give them a free 30-second commercial for their work.
But guys, this is fantastic. And of course, all the links and information will be in the description of this episode. Pretty much everything we talked about, which is a lot, will be in this episode.
Come and join us.
Come and join them. Absolutely. As we wrap up, any last little nuggets that you hope that our listeners take with them as they, move out onto the world the rest of their day after listening to this and anything?
You want to start?
I do. I want to say something. If you have a passion in your heart, don't let anything interfere with you. Go for it.
Amen.
It's like I was telling you, right? We just were with Tony Robbins last weekend. What a character! What a guy he is! I mean, amazing. You can't get you'll light you right up. It reconnected me with a lot of the stuff that we started out with. I mean, our motto is recreating the world through entertainment so that it works better for everybody. Wow. And that's really what it's about. It's recreating. It's recreation. It's about having fun. It's about telling stories that have impact, that change the way things are into the way things that we want them to be. That's really what we need to be looking at. Because I'll tell you what, if the world came to an end tomorrow, I mean, what would we be missing? War, famine, hunger, violence, gangs, drugs. That's the world that we live in, But the world that we can create and the world that we imagine are the things that the dreams are made of. That we can be living, if we believe, So that's really where I'm at this point.
Fantastic.
I can go through anything as long as I know on the other side of it, I'm still going to be there for the fun of living. It's about life.
Amen.
It's not about survival.
And it's about each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
None of us are here alone.
Relationships that you have with other people is really what keeps you going.
And build your team, man. It's all about teamwork. You don't have to do it on your own.
No.
No. I mean, God plays a huge part in our life, and it really does. And if it wasn't for Him, I'd have been dead long ago. I mean, I've been dead 3 times. I didn't bring myself back. So anybody tells me that there's no God, okay, really, okay, I got news for you.
No, he was dead 3 times.
That flat line, man,
Jesus,
just like that, right? And Jesus threw me back. He said, "Yeah, man, you're one fish going back in.
You got more work to do here."
Yeah, I mean, when I say fish, we're Pisces, right? Our birthday's
really?
coming up. Yeah, so when I say you're one fish going back in, I mean it. I'm going back in.
You guys are taking a page out of of course, Walsh Wednesday. The motto for the Walsh family in Gaelic, translated is "transfixed but not dead." AKA, we ain't dead yet.
You ain't dead yet,
we
right.
ain't dead yet.
That's it.
So that's what we always say. And you guys are just living embodiment of that. Just keep going with it. Guys, thank you so much for being here on this episode of Walsh Wednesday. Seriously, this is fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm Connor.
I'm David.
I'm Nan.
And as always, we're glad we get to
Spend some time.
And that's a wrap on this week's episode. Special thanks to Jocelyn Zimmer, Joyce Hills, Elliana Bertrand, David Patrick Wilson, and Nan Gill-Wilson. And of course, special shout out to Impact PR and Communications, Teespring, IABLE Board 114, and Walsh Valuation. Last but certainly not least, we got to give a big shout out to our Patreon member, Jenna Hess. But you know what? She's getting a little lonely. So how about you keep her company on the Walsh Wednesday Patreon? You can support this channel by becoming a Patreon member with memberships as low as $5 a month. With that, you can get behind-the-scenes content, your name featured in the credits of each episode, and access to the Spend Some Time chat. You can find that and more by scanning the QR code on your screen or by going to the links in the description. As always, I'm Connor Walsh, and I'm glad we get to spend some time.